This again. Hello, my name's Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0 with Gary Van Sickle at the Masters. Gary, we actually got golf today, so there was all kinds of excitement. You started early, I think, with the honorary starters and went from there. Tell us
I'm
about
ready
it.
for a nap. Yeah, I had to get up at 5:45 to get here in time for the honorary starters. Why would you make these old guys tee off at 7:25 in the morning when the sun comes up at 7:02?
I don't know.
And never mind, it's okay if they have to suffer, but then that means I have to be here. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
big imposition. That's what's wrong with this. How does this affect me, Al Franken?
right, exactly.
So we're
Probably
doing our
foot.
daily 5 things at the
Five
Masters.
things.
Today is Thursday, I think.
Yes, I think
You're
so too.
waving at me.
No, I was doing five things and I couldn't find the right place for
Oh,
the
okay.
five.
Looked like you were waving. You okay? Well, that's good. Look, everyone, this is a professional podcast, as you can tell. I think you have to go. I don't know what the number one thing should be. I think it has to be Rory McIlroy, maybe kicking his chances away again of finally getting the Grand Slam. But it's only Thursday. You
Yeah.
can't win the tournament on Thursday. You can lose it, and he didn't lose it, but he's now 4 shots behind Scotty Scheffler, who ominously made no bogeys again. And that's not a great spot to be in if you're Rory or anybody. But I didn't see how he doubled. Rory doubled 17 because I was interviewing Justin Rose, the leader. But I
Yeah.
saw on 15, Rory was over the green in 2, I guess, and he made a chip. And you have to nip that chip perfectly if you're going to go toward
Yeah.
that pin. And that's not the strength of his game. And it went down into the water, and he made a double. So
That's an
that was an
Audi.
egregious mental mistake, I think, and a technique mistake.
Okay.
The weak spot in the game, it always finds you.
Oh,
So that
especially
was,
at Augusta National. Yeah.
yeah. So he went from having a really good day. He was 4 under, and he finished at even, I think. So yeah, that's a little demoralizing for him. But he's got 3 more days. The problem is now he's going to have to put up a couple of low scores, a couple of 68s or 67s, which he does
He
all the
can,
time. So I
yeah,
wouldn't count him out.
yeah, without even thinking about it, he can put up numbers like that. But
Yeah.
how about Justin Rose? Back from
Well,
nowhere.
I'm kicking myself. I always have Justin Rose on my fantasy Masters draft team because he leads the league in first round leads. He got his 5th first round Masters lead today, and I don't have him on my team.
Well, what's wrong with you?
Well, I don't know. I spent all of 45 seconds filling out my entry form. I don't know how I could get it wrong. That's my fault, and really I blame my staff. But
Okay.
he had a great. I mean, he birdied 1, 2, and 3. Then he birdied 8, 9, and 10, and it's hard to mess that up at that point. And especially he played well enough to win the British Open at Royal Troon. So he kind of he rediscovered his game last summer, and we should have known. Well, mainly you should have known that he's a guy you should have in your Masters lineup. He's a nice guy. As he had the money quote today, he said, "I've played well enough to win the Masters. I just don't have a green jacket." And I don't know if he's the
Oh,
first one to say that, or if that was from Ernie Els or David Duvall or somebody else. But it was a good quote, and he's right.
well, he already has a gold medal, so he has that going for him.
Yeah, he's got a U.S. Open. He's got a gold medal. He's doing okay. He's only 44. He's playing some of his best golf in quite a while.
Playing like he's 34.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's five. What's four or two?
Oh, we're
Depending
going
on.
reverse order. You're counting down. Okay, whatever. Well,
Well,
we got a
you said one was McElroy, so two is who or what?
That was just we just did Justin Rose, I think. So
That's two.
Justin Rose, he's the leader by a bunch. You got to give a shout out to Fred Couples. I wrote a little
Yeah.
something about Fred. He is hilarious because he's 65 and he's playing like a senior citizen. He's got 8 hit covers in his bag. He's got a driver, a 3-wood, a 5-wood. He's got a 3 hybrid, 4 hybrid, 5 hybrid, and 6 hybrid, and a putter. That's 8 head covers by my count. His longest iron is a 7-iron in his bag, like a lot of seniors. So, and he played great. He shot 1 under. He's in all the highlights. He had 2 good shots on 1. It trickled off the back left of the green, and he putted from there, and he made it for birdie. And on 14, he used his 6 hybrid and knocked it in the jar from 186 yards.
Wow.
And he said, "Well, he couldn't see it. It went over. It was behind a ridge.
Okay.
It went over the ridge."
That
And then he said he saw a bunch of people going. They kind of raised their hands part way up, and then when they went like this, he knew it went in. So he thinks that's the first time he's ever made an eagle on a par 4 here. And he loves the Masters a lot.
I would know about it if he had made one earlier in his career.
Yeah, I think he'd remember it because he loves the Masters. He loves this course. So he's got a glint in his eye or a sparkle, whatever the word is. He's not going to win it, but I think he feels pretty confident about making the cut and maybe having a decent finish. But as he said, guys his age, it's all about making the cut. And if he makes the cut, he's got 31 cuts made. He's 6 behind Jack, except Jack won 6 Masters and Fred only won 1. So that tells you what kind of consistency he's had here. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I think that making the cut here, or just even having a good round after, his deteriorating play, shall we say, really is important to him. He loves the Masters, almost more than life itself. And having a great first round gets him in a good mood for the rest of the week. So his people around him are probably just as happy as he is. And I'm happy for him.
Yep.
Okay, that's 3.
That's 3. I think we missed one somewhere. Well, we can discuss the honorary starters who had a blast.
Well, that's right. You got up.
What's that?
You got up for them.
I got up for them, and they each hit 3 pretty good drives. And, they had a nice little press conference with the media afterwards.
For those who forgot who the honorary starters are, they are
Gary Player, 89, Jack Nicklaus, 85, and Tom Watson, the kid, 75.
Yes.
Watson hit one pretty good, but they all hit nice ones. Jack had a tough time bending over to tee his up, and I hate to say this, but he's got an immense gut right now. So probably because he hasn't been able to, hasn't been feeling well, hadn't been able to go out and do much, but he is able to get to the refrigerator, which is a common problem for most of us seniors.
That's true.
So you just don't think Jack is going to really get that heavy, but he did. We've all been there. A lot of us have been there. Gary Players made some joke about he went off on a tangent talking about aging. He's got a new girlfriend. He's loving life, and he talks about how he wants to live to 100. And he's gone to see a gerontologist in India who's given him 11 things to do to get there, and he's doing it. And he said, "Well, I might drop dead tomorrow, but I'm giving it a hell of a try." So
he didn't bother to save us the trip to India and say what the 11 things were, huh?
Well, that's proprietary information. You have to pay the fee. I see.
Okay.
I don't know. It was Gary Player's full of energy, and he's got all this knowledge. He just can't wait to impart to anyone who will listen. He's a lot of fun. Sometimes you feel like he maybe knows too much, but he's a blast. I enjoy being around him.
I agree.
And then we have the opposite of a big finish, the big talk of the day, and probably will be one of the big internet hits. Hopefully there's not video of this, but the U.S. amateur champ, the kid from Spain, Jose Luis Bayetir.
Yeah.
Bayetir apparently didn't know there was a porta-john on the 13th tee, and he hit his drive on 13, and Justin Thomas is in trouble or having a problem up on the green, and he realizes he really can't wait anymore to use the bathroom.
Oh, no.
So since Justin was delaying play, he thought, I have time to run into the trees here, which have thinned out because of Hurricane Helene. And he added some liquid to Ray's Creek.
He
And at some
fertilized.
point, the gallery's on the other side of the fairway. But after a few minutes, they figured out what was going on. And when he got done and returned, he got a round of applause. But that was really
That's a low light. That's not a high.
that's an unforced error. He's going to hear about that from somebody in a green
Forever.
jacket. But he made a mistake. He knew it, and he didn't know where the bathrooms are. You know, you're playing in a major. One of your things you got to know, or your caddy has to know, is where are the bathrooms.
I never thought about that, but you probably do have to know that.
You
If
do
you're
have to know
caddy,
that.
Everybody needs to know that.
Because
Absolutely.
geez, I was just attacked by a big yellow jacket,
That's exciting.
and it's still flying around me.
Well, hopefully it doesn't dive bomb you. Are you around anything that looks like a yellow jacket
Well,
house?
I think it's indicative that I'm part of the B team here.
Oh, you're not part of the bird team though. Those are some exceptional bird calls.
Well, there's a lot of them, and they're at suspiciously regular intervals. Is all I'll say.
Okay, you shouldn't say anything more
Yeah,
because of
and
where you are.
it adds to the atmosphere.
That's right. Did we do 5?
I can't believe they let a bee onto the ground. So this is Augusta National. Have some respect, insects. I think that's our report for Thursday from the Masters.
Before you go, can you walk your phone over to your nameplate and show everyone what the Masters does for past presidents of the Golf Writers Association?
No, this is for members of the 40-year club. You have to make 40 Masters. Past presidents don't get their own parking spot. Well, if you really insist, this is I can't see where I'm aiming at here.
No, you got to get closer to it because it's so bright due to the sun. You're going to have to get really close.
How about if I stand in front of it? How's that?
That's better. But all I can see is the sickle, not the rest of it. Okay.
It's got your first initial.
That's right.
That's it. I got my own parking spot, which is crucial because they don't necessarily give everybody a parking pass.
No kidding.
Especially if you're on a large staff of 8 or 10 people, they'll give you 5, and it's up to you to figure out how to carpool. So it's it's one reason to come back. I got somewhere to park. Awesome. I'll come back just for that.
Oh yeah, you should. I agree with you on that. I can't imagine that there aren't people that are calling you up asking to ride with you.
Well, there probably will be now among the thousands of people watching this video.
Okay then. Until tomorrow?
Maybe.
Maybe. Until tomorrow, maybe.
Let's not put our bees in one basket.
All right. We won't. Until then.
Okay.